Hi, I'm Andrew, welcome to the channel. This week I've had a go at building an effects rack, a wah-wah effects rack effectively, with distortion and saturation to try and get some crunchy tones and just to add a little bit of spice to things. Have a listen to a couple of examples, got some synth sounds, some guitar sounds, then I'll explain how the rack works and as always how you can put this rack together yourselves if you're interested. So here's the rack. We have effectively an area where we can control the wah-wah. We have a delay, we have saturation, and we have overdrive here. We have a tone control and control of the filter resonance. If we turn it on, very simple tone here, we can see that the tone control is being moved, and if we open this up, the rack a little bit, what we have effectively is an envelope follower which is capturing the incoming signal and then modulating this control here, which is linked to these two filters. We have a high pass and a low pass filter, and as you can see, let's close the envelope. Well, we'll keep it open for a second. If we introduce some control here over the envelope follower, we have the attack time here. We will see that the movement here, if we introduce decay, starts to slow down. So we're controlling here with these macros the speed of the envelope follower affecting both of our filters here, high pass and low pass. Now I'll come to some of the settings here. There are specific settings for the frequency ranges for both of these filters. We'll get to that in a little bit, probably in the build actually, but they're limited to certain ranges. Then we have here a delay as well, which delays the start of the envelope follower. That also has an effect on our tone here. Turn it up a little. So as I say, the envelope follower controls these two filters to give us this wah-wah effect. The resonance, here we can, let's close this for a second. Resonance is just linked to the filters. Filter resonance, 1 and 2. And so with the tone control and the wah-wah controls, we take the delay off, make the attack faster. We can kind of get that wah-wah tone. We can delay it, change the attack time, etc. Okay, so that's the wah-wah element. Then we have a simple delay here. It's also included in the rack, and you can set that up how you like. Yeah. And then at the bottom here, turn it off again for a second, we have, close these, we have a saturator and an overdrive to add the crunch. Here we can control the type here. Let's concentrate on the saturator first. We can control the type of saturator we have, bass, shaver, the drive. We can control the color, if you like, the range. and of course helps if you put the dry wet on, then you hear it. Yeah. Let's go through that again. We can change the type, the drive, etc. Then we have finally here the overdrive, which again we can control the dynamic range here. So if we want a more muffled sound or a brighter sound, let's turn it on. It helps. Brighter sound or muffled. Just the tone and the amount of drive. And these combined then allow us to get those gnarly sort of guitar sound, or whatever you want. I mean, I had a synth on the intro, any kind of sound you want to put through it, vocals, put on a bit of saturation. Increase the takt time here of the wah-wah. I'm controlling this with the mouse. Of course you could add pedal to this if you wanted. Okay, very simple. Just really an idea I had to have a go and see if I could reproduce a wah-wah pedal in any form. We have here some different snapshots I've made. Let's try something slightly different. Let's try, let's go to the synth. So it's not just for guitars. All kinds of tones to be had. Try an electric guitar. What about the effect track? Okay, I think you get the idea. Let's have a look how it's put together. It's quite simple actually. A few things you have to watch out for. For this one you're going to need an effect track, which you can find here, audio effects, and then we have audio effect track. You drop it in here. As always, you can open plus minus, get the macros. You're going to need all 16 here. This button here opens up the macro control. I've kept my labels just so that it's faster for me to make the video. First thing we're going to need then is an envelope follower, so we'll drop that into our rack. Then we'll need one of the new auto filters in Ableton Live 12.2. This rack's only compatible with that. We'll need a saturator, which goes after our auto filter here. And then the overdrive. Now, you could put these after the whole filter setup, put these at the back of the rack, but I kind of liked putting them in the center between the filters. It just added a bit more of an effect to the wah-wah, but it's your choice where you place them. Here we want the other auto filter. So a second auto filter here goes after the overdrive. As I say, these two could have gone after the whole wah-wah effect here being created by the filters, but my preference was to put in the center here. Then we'll need a delay, just a standard delay. Drop that in there. And finally, we'll have a limiter on the end because some of the tones coming out of here can be quite sort of aggressive. And we'll set this one up first here, the limiter, because that's very simple. We just want to, I reduce this to -6 here. Type that in actually. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough macro controls on the front of the rack here to put a volume control, which would have been quite nice to control the volume here as you increase saturation overdrive. That wasn't possible due to the lack of macros. So the compromise was to put this here with a value at the back -6. You can play with this value lower or higher as you wish. Okay, so let's go then to the follower, the front of the rack, and we need to map a few things here. So we'll map here, we want the rise, which we map here to the wah attack, the fall, the decay, and the delay, which is the wah delay here. Okay, so that's mapped. We'll set this up in 1 second once we've done the filters. We want to look then at our first filter. We map here the frequency to our tone control, the resonance here to the resonance. So we need to come out of here and do a few settings now. So to come out of the mapping, we should set this up actually. I chose here for the drive the MS2 for this filter, which is going to be, we'll rename this high pass, and we'll select a high pass filter here, so, and 12 decibel. So I select MS2 here for the high pass filter. We need to go on to the envelope here and make a couple of settings. I changed this to 6 milliseconds, and for the hold of the envelope 200. I think that's everything here set up for that one. Oh, I gave some drive as well, a small amount of drive here, 5% coming through. Okay, so that's set up now. We can go on to, we can close that one actually. Get it out of the way. Let's go to the saturator. So we want to map here the drive. Go back into our mapping. We'll map the drive here, the type here, the amount low here, saturator low here, and finally the dry wet here. So that's done. Now we can close that one. We look at our overdrive. We want to map again here the drive, so the overdrive drive, the tone, the dynamic, which controls sort of how bright the tone is, or dark, lower values are dark, and then finally the dry wet, that here. So the overdrive is set up as well. Let's come out of here again and do our next filter. So this one I had the PRD drive circuit on, and also I set this to 5%, just a value I chose. Play around with these as you will. This one is high pass 12 dB as well. So let's map, oh wait, we can do the envelope first. We'll set the envelope up. This was 6 here, and 140 milliseconds, slightly different value here. So now we can map this. So we want the resonance going to the resonance, the frequency going to the tone control here, the envelope here goes to the wah tone, this one here. And we'll come to that when we do the constraints here. So let's just have a look, make sure we've got everything. I think that's okay, so we can close the mapping there for that one. Then we'll close this as well actually. Then we have here the delay, which I set to left as synchronized 5.5. Nothing special there. I dropped that down to 30%, the feedback. I say the delay is set up however you want, whatever values you want in here. And then the limiter, I think we've done, that's it. So everything's set up there. We need to map our envelope follower, of course, here. So let's do this quickly before I forget. So this we need to set to 75, and then we need to map the follower to the tone control here, and that allows the tone control macro to be controlled by the envelope follower, and then adjust our filters here. Okay, so that's done. Let's finish up the delay then. We need to map, we can close that now. We need to map here, go back into our mapping. We need to map here the delay time. Just click on this box here anywhere, and in delay time here, and the dry wet, of course, we'll map those. Okay, and then it's just a case of putting our constraints in. Wah tone I had -30 to 50. That controls here the envelope range. And then we have the wah decay. I reduced this to 200 milliseconds. The decay 40%. The attack 20%. The tone control here, I set this to 150 Hertz. If you wanted, with the wah effect, if you wanted more bassy tones in the wah, you could reduce this, or if you want to reduce the bass, you can increase this value maybe to 300, 350, your choice. I set this to 1600, 1.6 kilohertz for the high pass, and for the low pass here, 550, 2200. 2.2 kilohertz. These we don't have to change. That's okay, that's okay. These we don't have to change. I think the next ones we have to change are the resonance here. For the high pass, I set that to 30. And for this one, I set it to 95 for the low pass. And if we pop out of here quick, I'll put a screenshot of these at the end. You can see all of these at the end of the video, so you can jump to that if you need to reference them. This one we're going to rename. Low. Okay, so that we can close up now. That we don't need. Looks okay. Right, so it should work now in theory. We'll just select one of the snapshots. Let's go for high pass filter. Oh, bass maybe, that might be easier. And bring back our tone. Let's try these. Okay. Seems to be working. Try another one. Okay. Let's turn that on. Everything seems to be working. Again, thank you if you've made it this far in the video. Hope you can use this, make some use of it. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day as always, and take care. See you in the next video, hopefully.